I watched this last night with the Full House in the Savoy in Dublin, and certainly it's like a butterfly with a very nasty bite. You kind of get sucked into this beautiful, kind of, as we all remember, this sort of dreamlike of childhood, this Twilight Zone. But that sort of darkness in it, I don't know whether that was what attracted you, that it had that double-edged sword, that there was not just one thing, not just, straight.
Yeah, I mean, if it would have been straightforward sugar, I would have not been here. The whole animal is what you're after, and it's very. And as a parent, for me, there's a very difficult situation that takes place in this film, and it's nice to examine. I felt that I came away from it very, very positive in this film. Yeah, I did. Very, very positive. But it sends sort of warning shots across the bow. This one, I like it. I think it's very interesting. I mean,
It certainly had a great effect last night. And trying to describe to somebody who may not have seen or know anything about it, it was almost like a great episode of Brookside, directed by Bruno Dumont or by Michael Haneke. It had that sort of, here we are with Terrace cul-de-sac, and just how it can be a microcosm of all sorts of relationships and troubles. And
also that thing of, it's like one little thing happens. Well, it's not such a little thing, but she's witness to one event, and then just the ripples that kick out from that. But you do get the time. What is clever that Rufus has done, and they did with the script, is you get to spend some time with this girl. You get to see what you might lose if you do lose this girl, and so we had to be very careful how we created that, how we built that up.
When it came to your own character, I don't know whether the educated Archie, I don't know whether there was reference points in your heads about him. I don't know whether he has a little bit of that sort of Don Corleone of the cul-de-sac, where he does seem to be the wisest man within that group in a way, or people come to him for advice, given that he's got legal,
I think it's just that he's a good. He'll listen. He's actually he has incredible integrity, and he's very. He's a good. You can tell he's a good man. He's not a fighter necessarily. He's just a guy that you can bounce your ideas off in a way. When the neighbour comes across to talk to him, he actually doesn't say much. But he knows the guy has to speak. The neighbour has to speak, and once he's spoken, he can do it, and it feels like he can do it in the presence of this man. Then then he leaves. I find him interesting in that way.
As an actor, having a role where you don't get a huge amount of speech, where you are the one who's listening, where you are the one who's kind of in a way reacting, that is always a tougher thing. I don't know whether it's a sweet challenge. You have some experience in the acting field, so I don't think there's too much of a.
It's a bug. It's a double-edged sword. For the ego of the actor, it can be really disturbing. But as a challenging thing, as something of it, as a challenge for the actor, it's also an amazing thing, because what we try to do in this was put him on the ground, just make him solid, make him that guy that you can talk to, make him a good dad, but also he's busy with his work, make him not the actor in the drama. Then something happens, and whatever happens after that. But so you're working on a sort of on an invisibility in a way. And which for actors, they like to scream and shout a lot and jump up and down and wave their wigs about. But it's not one of those kind of roles. It's a very, very quiet role, which doesn't quite often really get much attention. I like him. The master of that was Gregory Peck. Really, he was the one. But Jack Lemmon, for example, it'd be another one of playing the ordinary guy, but making him funny or making him tragic or.
I was thinking,
if that was the answer to you. Oh,
that's a good answer. I'll use that for sure. I was thinking that here we've got a renowned theatre director making his screen debut, Rufus Norris, and it's Daniel Clay's novel. And were there certain points that you were aware of this, or did it come to you as a script? I don't know if you had early kind of.
No, I was not attached to it. It was already going, and it's because of the producer Dixie Linda. She produced the Warzone, and so I wanted to know what she was up to, and she sent me the script so I could find out. And then, I said I fell in love with the dad, and I said if the actor, because the actor who was attached to it is Colin Firth, I said if he, can't do it for any reason, put me on the list, and they put me on the list,
Well, I don't know, for you, given you mentioned the war zone, that was you moving from, very acclaimed in the field of acting, and you moved into directing, and that became a hugely loved film and well received. I don't know whether you felt, here's Rufus kind of going through the same thing. He's got a good reputation within theatre, and he's making a shift into, the screen, which, it's similar world, but it can be a little bit of a test that can you cut it even though you've already got a good reputation. But
I think on the cinematic level, Rufus is a very Rupert Everett. Let's talk about him. Is a very visual guy. Rufus is one of those. He's one of those chaps. So, what I liked about what he did with this, and I wasn't aware of what he was going to do, and actually until I saw it, to be honest. Wasn't quite sure what he was up to, but I knew there was some stuff going on. He's dealing with, it's a very tricky sort of line he's dancing on, which is he's dealing with social realism on the one hand, but he's also dealing with sort of magical realism, which is almost an Italian, I think, kind of, if I think about it, that kind of, or maybe has a Latin American kind of feel to it as well. So he's playing around with that, with the cinematic form and breaking the story, and it has a theatrical bent to it, and then it's based in realism. He's playing around with all those things. I think that's fascinating, and there's not a lot of directors know to do that, and I think his theatre background gave him that opportunity.
When I last spoke to you here in Dublin, it was for the war zone back in, I think it was August 1999 over in the Clarence. But here you were, you're a very well established actor, and obviously that gave you the clout to go and make a film. If anything, you've grown and grown since then, and certainly success like Lied to Me would reach a certain big audience in America and beyond. And I don't know, the fact that you haven't directed since then, is that just because it's something you really want to be ready for? Is it financially a very difficult thing to get together?
It's money.
Right.
It's really. It was a lesson I learned from the war zone. Is I had the money to stop working for 2 years, and I got kids, and family and all of that. So I'm, and the next one I really want to do it. I so want to direct. I've got the scripts. I'm ready to go, and I've also got some very good actors along for the ride. But I've got to get them. I feel like I've got to get them out of the house before I can go, okay, everyone's good? Everyone's good, right. Okay, now it's my turn.
Buy a caravan.
Yeah, it's my turn, and it is a bit like that's what you kind of need. Actually, I will be in a caravan. Yeah. It's set in a caravan. No, it's that's really what's stopped me. And I don't know if that's been the case with, any of the other actors that direct, but I would much, to be honest with you, I'd love to do one every few years. I'd just get on with it, really.
Well, the funny thing was, when I spoke to you back then, the one fear you had, you mentioned that idea of being off the acting game for 2 years to go and make a film, was a little bit of a worry that you can get forgotten in a moment, that you're not in the ring, they just forget you're a fighter. And
I've forgotten I even said that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
But I wonder if that's still, given that you've had a very long and illustrious career, and that you're very well kind of established, is that still a possibility in your head that, if I go away for 2 years and make this film that I want to make?
No, if I get to the place where I make another film as a director, I won't care.
Right.
I've done 30 years. I'll figure it out. I mean, there's a big difference between, 10 years ago and now, and it's not about the work so much. It's about having worked. I'm kind of tired. So I think I've got to the point where if people don't want me about. If they can forget me in a couple of years or a year and a half, whatever it is, then fair play, and I'll find something else to do.
Well, you mentioned like Jack Lemmon and Gregory Peck, and those sort of very well-established, loved character actors, which I think you'd fall into that category of being a very good character actor who can carry a film, can take the lead and all that. I mean, I don't know if the stardom side of it is something that enters your head, because with something like Lied to Me, you're going to people's homes every week, and it's especially in America, it's a very big effect. Television has come a long way in the last 5-10 years, and it's a much stronger kind of impact and great work. I don't know if that ever enters your head that you worry about the celebrity side, you need the celebrity side, or you need to be.
I think it helps. I would be lying if I said that it didn't. It helps. It helps get your work. I mean, notoriety does, but hopefully of the better kind. But it's not something you want. I mean, it's another one of those fights. You kind of don't. You want the only time that you want that stuff, the real celebrity and all of that stuff. You only want that at the very beginning, because you think, oh, wouldn't that be cool? And it's just not. It's really not cool. The thing about television, for example, is you are in everybody's house. They own you in a different way. It's a remarkable thing to be a part of. I quite enjoyed it by the end of it.
Cool. I've been given the friendly finger to wrap up. Very sweet to talk to you again,
Cheers,
sir.
mate.
Cheers, man. Yeah.
See you in 10 years.
Have you? Yeah.